Hey everybody, it is me back for another video. Wait. I feel good now. I feel good now. So, today we're going to have a quick talk about birth control. I feel like this should be a quick talk. I'm guessing quick talk. Maybe like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. I don't know, somewhere in there. But this should be somewhat quick. So, birth control, first off. Birth control is not just some natural thing. It's a whole bunch of chemicals and a whole bunch of just random stuff put together to basically help us not get pregnant. And it is also used for so many other things now. It's not just birth control to stop you from getting pregnant. I mean, they pretty much try to give you birth control for anything. You say your stomach hurt, they're like, hey, have you tried birth control for that? You got a headache? It's like, hey, have you tried birth control for that? You know what I'm saying? You're not eating too much and you need to get an appetite. It's like, have you tried birth control for that? No? Maybe okay, let me write your prescription for birth control. Take it every day and I'm pretty sure you'll gain an appetite. Your headaches will go away. Everything. Oh, you're nauseous. Birth control helps with that if you didn't know. You know, Pepto-Bismol, not so much. For birth control? Oh, yeah. Gosh, right in the back. But anyway, birth control is definitely used for all those things, though. Like, for real. Birth control is used for everything now. It is used for nausea, it's used for headaches, it's used for stomach pain, it's used for endometriosis, it's used if you want to stop your period, it's used if you're having breakouts, it's definitely used for acne treatments. Like, you used to see a dermatologist, now you just go get some birth control, because it seems like a lot of acne now is hormonal, which means the hormones and birth control, so it helps out. But please believe that leads to a lot of side effects. I've already told you about the dry vaginas, but it's stuff like nausea, headaches, being sick, and then it even say on the packaging, it may make your acne worse. It may make it better. Who knows? It depends on the person. It's like, I don't want to take it, and then it actually makes my acne worse. And like I said, as far as the endometriosis for that pain, they prescribe birth control to stop the pain. But it's like, then they tell you just to take the pills, all the active pills, and don't take the non-active pills. They want you to just kind of cancel out your period completely. And it's just like, are we supposed to be doing this? Is any of this natural? Of course it's not. And really, if you had a very natural diet, you wouldn't be having a period anyway. But, we're not going to get into that today. That's a whole different topic. But let's talk about where birth control came from. I move a lot. Have y'all noticed that? Well, sometimes I don't, but sometimes it's like a conversation when I be sitting with people. Sometimes I sit and I move. I put my leg up. I put my leg down. I hold my face. I sit back. You do whatever you want. So, back in 3000 BC, condoms were made of fish bladders and of animal intestines. Things like that. Those were the first condoms. That was 3000 BC. So then in 1500, after death, we're going to move forward. Then there was spermicide made. So a spermicide was just a linen sheath condom. It was dipped in some type of chemical and then laid out to dry. And boom, you got a spermicidal condom, I guess. I don't know. So in 1838, that is when they came up with diaphragms and condoms made with vulcanized rubber. We start getting advanced. You see how long it's taken for everything to really make progress? It went from 3000 BC to 1500 AD to 1838. I mean, it's taking some time. But just know, when we get to like the 19s, everything get the booming, because that's the way it go. Everything got the booming in the 19s. So, in 1873, the Comstock Act in USA. Now, this was an act that was basically saying, we will not be advertising birth control at all. There won't be any ads on TV. There won't be any type of information out. Even the postal workers, if y'all see some birth control going to somebody's house, you get that. You confiscate that. We're not going to, no, nothing on you. You grab that birth control, you bring it back here, you throw it away. Don't you let them get that birth control. And that's like, really? There was really an act making sure that nobody knew about birth control. There was no talks of birth control. You can't get birth control. I mean, that's crazy. So in 1876, just 3 years later, there's a lady named Margaret Sanger. So she opened up the first birth control clinic. And maybe like a year after she opened the clinic, she went to jail. And she was found guilty of being a nuisance and all this extra stuff, being a disturbance in the neighborhood. Had to do 30 days in jail. And then she had to keep going back and forth to jail because, people kept calling. Of course, you know how people do when they want to shut you down. You're a nuisance. It's always going to be some type of problem, some citation, something. So that's what was going on with Margaret. So then, let's move on up to 1916. But, right, we already said that. That was 1916 when Margaret opened up the birth control clinic. So in 1938, a judge lifted the rule on the not advertising birth control, and he got rid of the Comstock Act so that it can be advertised, people can get in the mail. We're not going to keep the birth control from you guys. It's okay. Then in 1950, Margaret Sanger, the first one to open the first birth control clinic, she also underwrote a lot of the information and the research for the first birth control pill. And she raised, I think, $150,000 towards this project. So, you know, she started the first birth control clinic. She went to jail a bunch of times for it. But thanks to her, you know, it ended the Comstock Act and then led to the first birth control pill, thanks to Miss Margaret Sanger. You know what I'm saying? So in 1960, they came up with the Envoid. It was oral birth control, the very, very, very first one. And it was approved by the FDA in the 1960s. And in 1965, the Supreme Court ruled that women that are married are allowed to take birth control. They had to prove that it was a part of the Constitution, that it was their right to have privacy. But it was still 26 states that were not allowing women to get birth control. But the fact that you had to go to court just to be able to take birth control if you're married. I mean, the way it was back then, your husband, what he says go. He said, no, you're not taking this birth control. You're going to have a bunch of babies. It was like, it was what it was. Like, who said I want to have 12 kids? Who said, then what if I got a whole bunch of high-risk pregnancy? Who said I want to keep going through this and potentially die? Like, I would like to take some birth control, please. Thank you. I would like to. Thanks a lot. So, it's crazy that they had to go to the Supreme Court to even make that happen. So in around 1968, that's when the FDA approved IUDs, something called like the Copper 7 and a loopy loop or something like that. These names don't sound like they're anything I would like to put in my body. It sounds like things that are going to potentially kill me or lead to death or something like that. And in 1968, the FDA approved it. And in 1972, the Supreme Court, they made it so that it can be sold everywhere. It can be everywhere. I told you it was still 26 states that were not allowing women to be able to be on birth control. So 1972, it was all good to go. We're all getting birth control. Everybody in the country, we're all secure now. We're all about to have some free sex and not get pregnant. It's all right. But then in 1974, we took some IUDs off the market because guess what they were doing? They were killing people. That's what I said. They killing people and causing all types of infections and things like that. So that wasn't what we were looking for. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's such a long timeline of just trying to get birth control to where it is today. I mean, it's crazy. And today we are still, I mean, you see on TV, it's still a whole bunch of recalls and all types of IUDs and things like that have caused death and hemorrhaging and bleeding and a whole bunch of stuff you really don't want to go through. So in the 1980s, that's when they came out with the birth control with the low doses of hormones. There weren't hormones in it at first. So in the 1980s, we got hormones. 1990s is when we started getting the depot shots. That's when we started getting more different types of hormone pills. That's when we started getting the female condoms. In the 2000s, that's when we just start coming out with all the different brands and everything, from NuvaRings to Depot to most of the names that we know about now. I mean, us that were born in like the 80s, we know most of these different things. In 2002, the implant, Norplant, that's when you get an implant in your arm, birth control. When I first heard about that, I thought that was crazy. I don't want you to put something in my arm. No, thank you. But in 2002, that was taken off the market. In 2010, they created an emergency contraceptive. That was like the Plan B, you know what I'm saying? To make it so that you could take it at least 72 hours after you have had unprotected sex. And yeah. And that is pretty much the end of the birth control history. We get to the Plan Bs and the emergency contraceptive, and that's kind of the end of it. Now they're just out here testing different things out, testing different types of hormones to mix and match and stuff like that. Still playing with different IUDs. Some are still busting through people's uterus. Some aren't. You know, it's still a testing game. Like I said, birth control now is used for everything. More so the birth control pill. The pill is widely used for everything from headaches to nausea to pain to endometriosis to acne to anything else. So I just don't feel like birth control is very natural. Like, I had my tubes taken out because I didn't want to be on birth control or be on any type of unnatural birth control to not have children. But then, after I took my tubes out, I found out, first off, that you could still end up getting pregnant, probably like 7 to 9 years later. So when I'm 37, 39, we'll be checking back to make sure I'm not pregnant. But also, that's when I started having all this pain for my endometriosis. Then when I go to the doctor about the pain for the endometriosis, what do they say? We can give you birth control. And it's like, come on, man. Really? I mean, if I was going to be taking birth control, then I would have just left my tubes in. I definitely would have. So I'm not taking the birth control. Actually, it's like I'm just dealing with the pain once a month and passing out and throwing up and stuff like that. So it's like it kind of makes you want to take the birth control. And then the other solution for that is taking out your uterus. So, you know, right now we're just going to deal with the pain until we hit what is that called? Menopause. I'm waiting on that. I didn't think I'd ever be waiting on menopause, but yeah, I'm definitely waiting on my period to end. So who knows when that'll be? 50, 45? I don't know when that comes, but I'm waiting on it. I'm only 30, so I got a while. I got a while of pain every month for the next couple of years. But this was just a quick history on birth control. I mean, I have to do some more videos. Got to catch up on videos. But today, I've been meaning to do this for a while because birth control is definitely a hot topic. And even now when you hop on Instagram and stuff, there's different things. There's something that was on there called Nurse X. And you could order birth control without a real prescription. But the birth control type was called Sprintec or something like that. And I looked up Sprintec. And Sprintec was one of those ones that just had a lot of side effects of being dizzy, nauseous, sick. Acne could get worse. Just, it seemed like a lot of stuff could get worse. It's like you're really taking a chance when you take any of these medications because you don't know how it's going to affect you. You don't know what types of hormones are being used, the percentages of what hormones compared to taking something normal like ortho. And I told you, ortho is pretty good. Like, I took ortho and that cleared my skin up completely. Like, my face was as clear as I've ever seen it. But my vagina was very, very dry. So, you got to know how it's going to work with your body. You definitely do. So that was all on birth control, and I will see you guys back later. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back. Bye.